Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pillow Talk with Coco. And I am your host, Coco. I know it's been a hot minute. I got like on the jive of things and been starting to do everything, and I was putting stuff out like once a week, and then one thing happens after another. I moved to Vegas, got married. Woohoo! I'm happy me, super happy about it. And guess what that means? That means that I can actually call myself a high valued woman, because there are a lot of women running around saying that they are considered a high value woman because they have big careers, they're buying skyscrapers, they're the boss babes, all that kinds of stuff. They got the cars, the money, whatever. But because I'm also the super chat reader for Access Vegas on Thursdays. And one of the times that I was on Access Vegas, the funny thing is that they sometimes from time to time, because they don't do it like every episode, they'll ask these ladies, like, do you consider yourself a high valued woman? And almost all of them, except one, because she was very honest, because she's like, I'm a very toxic person. And I was like, bravo for you for actually admitting that, because she kind of is. She wasn't trying to hide or save face or nothing, but most of these women actually said yes. And I was like, trying to keep my mouth shut, because I'm like, no, you're not, because you ladies are single, except there were a couple, I think two. One had a boyfriend, and one of them was married, and she did have a high valued man. So yes, she could consider herself a high valued woman. And so I'm like, you guys aren't high valued women. Like, I'm really sorry to burst your bubble, but there is no such thing as a high valued woman. Like, those are things that define a high valued man. I wrote it down because I always end up messing it up somehow. I always go like something about game, frame, muscles, something. So it's just easier for me to write it down. And it's considered money, muscles, game, and frame. Now, I don't necessarily know if it's in that order. If it is in that order, I don't agree with that order. Only because, not everybody's going to start off with money. I think the first important thing that a man needs to have is his frame, knowing what his frame looks like, and then putting your game together for that, then building the muscle, whether it's like, you just don't want to be overweight and obese. You just want to be healthy. You don't need to be a 6-pack giga chat or nothing. And then the money comes after you have all of your ducks in a row. Because I myself do not consider a man that doesn't have a lot of money. I've never considered him not considered a high value man. And again, that's to each own woman's personal preference. For me, if he is strong with his faith, if he takes pride in his appearance and his health, if he knows what his frame is like, and I can trust him to guide and lead this house, and he actually shows, the motivation and ambition, like, these are my goals and dreams and the things that I want to achieve in life, and he actually makes steps to accomplish that, then to me, that I see the potential in that. And I'm like, he's going to be going places. He's not just going to be some loser where we're living at his mom's house in the mother-in-law quarters because he just doesn't want to do anything with his life except play video games and watch porn. So I don't think that order is necessarily true, but anyways, I digress. So there is no such thing as a high valued woman, but there is actually a high quality woman. And that's where people get them mixed up, because after Access Vegas, I had asked Rollo about that, because I always considered myself a high quality woman. But at the point, I also still like, well, how come I'm not really considered high value? I never said that I was high valued, but when they say that there's no such thing, and Rollo actually has it in one of his books. It's the one with what was it? The game? What is it called? The Player's Handbook. I was reading that in the back of the car. I was like, hey, and I was like, quality woman. And I was like, so why is it that women cannot be considered, a high valued woman? I was like, if she does this, and this, and, she has a low body count, she believes in traditional roles and values. She's submissive. She's very nurturing, she's not toxic. She's not confrontational. If she shows and displays all of these things, how come she's not considered high value? And, it kind of clicked on me, like, as I said it, you kind of have one of those like, aha, like moments where you're like, now that I'm actually saying it out loud, like it makes sense. Like those aren't values. What are those? Those are traits that a person has. Like those are your qualities that make you, that define you as that person. So therefore it would make you and consider you a high quality woman, not high value. Because men are also supposed to lead. So when I see that these women are saying like, oh, I'm high value and because I have this, this, and this, and I'm like, cool. But then does that mean when you get into a relationship, like, are you willing to give all of that up? Because, I mean, unless there are some men out there that really do, want a woman that has the money and the career and all this stuff because, it makes their lifestyle of living probably a lot more comfortable. He doesn't maybe have to work as hard or whatever the case is. It's a lesser load for him because it is a big load for what it is that a man has to do to provide for his family. So, high value and high quality is essentially the same thing. Well, yes, in different sexes, I guess you could say that. Men are considered high value because again, the thing is that men are the ones that are bringing everything to the table. Like let's say they have their money, muscles, game, and frame all in play. Okay, they don't necessarily need a woman to actually provide any of those things. They want a submissive wife. If a woman looks at herself as high value, she's going to have a hard time wanting just to drop her career and, maybe scale back on all the things that she has worked so hard, and props to her for working so hard and getting to where she wants to achieve. But the thing is that when they both consider themselves high value, there's going to be a battle of dominance in the relationship. And you're not supposed to compete. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do in a relationship. You guys should not be competing where you're like, well, I'm making more money than you. Like, well, I want to make more money because I don't want you to say anything and or feel like you have control over me. And that just causes problems. Like that's not even not of the hierarchy of it. It goes man, wife, children. In my case, dog. So that's how the hierarchy of that goes. Marriage causes divorce also said men and women have to exchange value in relationships. Husbands provide and wives give birth. True. But like, if you want to consider those things as value, yes, that could be valuable to a man. A man can see those things from his wife or whatever. And he could be like, you know what? I value that my wife can do this. But again, it's what makes her high quality. But again, if they're married, then she is considered a high value woman because she married a man, which is considered of high value status. If there's no exchange of value, one-side relationships, the relationship breaks down. Absolutely. I mean, if one person, that's almost like saying if one person's doing all the work and one person's bringing everything to the table, like let's say for instance, like the husband's making all the bacon, and then he comes home and he's doing the laundry and taking care of the kids and he's cooking and he's doing all these things, and she's like Peggy from what is that, Love of the Marriage, that old TV show with Al Bundy. Like, nobody wants to marry that. And nobody should have to compete, especially a man. Like, if he is the leader in that relationship, in that marriage, he should not be competing with a woman who thinks that she is considered high value. She has high quality traits, but she's not high value without her husband. So yes, you're absolutely right. If it's only one-sided, that the relationship definitely breaks down, because then there's also going to be a point where there's going to be resentment and be like, why am I even with you? You do absolutely nothing to benefit this relationship or this marriage. And all you're doing is basically piggybacking off of me or absorbing everything that I'm providing and taking advantage of it. And that eventually that either leads to stepping outside the marriage or leads to divorce. Let's see. Marriage caused divorce says Johnny Depp was a high value man. Amber Heard, his wife, was low value. Absolutely. Like, before I think everybody knew that she was absolutely psycho, 100%. I think once she married Johnny Depp, though, like when that happened, at that point in her life, she was considered a high valued woman. But then she really displayed she displayed her colors, her true colors, which showed that she was very low quality. Can't say low value because then, at least in my opinion, that's just my opinion. I feel like if you say a woman is of low value, then that's almost saying because a wife is a reflection of her husband. I think that people also forget that. That how you present yourself, the way that you act, dress, speak, treat others, those kinds of things, you are a representation of your husband. So hence why my father always raised me, and he told me, he's like, you are the company that you keep. So please be careful with the people that you hang out with, because that's how people are going to perceive that you are. And he's like, and you are a representation of me and this family. So, my dad obviously wanted us to present ourselves a certain way and dress a certain way and all that other stuff, because he's like, you're a representation of me. People know me. I am your father. And it's the same thing when you're married. You as a wife are a representation of your husband. So if you're not bringing anything of value, then in a way, you're actually saying that your husband is low quality because you don't think that he is deserving of anything of high quality from you. Then why are you even in this relationship? I mean, people could disagree with me. I mean, some of the women have disagreed with me, being like, that's not true. I consider myself a high value woman because I have this, and I look good. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not trying to diss anybody. You do you, boo boo. Whatever you choose to do with your body and your life is your own thing. But just because you have like maybe $75,000 worth of plastic surgery done to everything on your body, that body is not natural. So just because you pay that amount of money to make yourself look good or decent in your eyes does not make you a high valued woman. Because now I'm actually curious what you look like before you even got the surgery done. But that doesn't qualify you as high value. You actually had to pay in your eyes to get that done to be considered a high valued woman or high quality woman. There is nothing, minus that I had a health issue, but there is nothing on my face that is paid for. Like nothing. All natural, no Botox, no fillers, no chemical peels, nothing. I mean, until the day that my husband actually tells me, he's like, honey, your crow's feet are kind of showing a little much. Would you be interested in some Botox? I'm like, let's try red light therapy first. And if that doesn't work, yeah, sure, why not? Like, but I'm not going to go and get that done myself. Like, there's no reason for it. I'm not going to do those things to myself to be like, oh, if I get bigger lips or if I have no lines in the face, I'm going to be considered a high value woman because then I can get these jobs and da-da-da, or these girls that are on OnlyFans think like, oh, because they're a boss babe, because they're making all of this money, that they're also considered a high valued woman. Well, the only qualities that you're actually really bringing to the table right now in that aspect is that, hey, so I'm going to give my body to you, but just so you know, everyone and their mother has seen it and paid for it too. Glenn Lauren said, what is high quality woman and who determines it? Well, in all honesty, I mean, I could have my own opinion of what I consider to be high quality values in myself because I know myself. But the only person who can actually determine if you're a high quality woman is the man, because the man is the one that's vetting the women to decide if she is considered high quality because she is actually going to bring something to the table that he values. He values those qualities that the woman has. So it's really actually only the man. The man is the only person who can determine if a woman is considered high quality. If, let's say, some guy doesn't care if she has a high body count, but he's like, you know what? She's no longer a hoe. I'm just going to take her home and make her a wife. She doesn't have any kids, so that's a plus. And she's really submissive now. She's turned a new leaf. She's strong in faith. whatever, then there are things that he found in her to be considered high quality. And he finds that whatever it is that she has to bring to that table, that he considers valuable enough for him to actually invest in her. Because that's what men are doing. When these high valued men are actually picking these women to marry or to let them to get into a relationship with them, to actually see if they want to go the next step as far as marriage, these men actually are the ones that are going to be like, oh, this is good quality. This is good quality. That's his determination. Marriage causes divorce says high valued woman equals someone who is mentally and emotionally stable. It doesn't have emotional diarrhea. Well, true. But to be honest and to be fair, no one in this world is perfect. And everybody at some point, even to a little bit of a degree, has emotional baggage. Because I don't think that there's a person on this earth that was like, no, life was perfect for me. Life has been absolutely so good that I have never had one single bad thing done to me. Now, as far as, not letting that become emotional diarrhea, I actually really like that term. That was good. It's just that if the person lets the things in the past, their traumas of their past, actually define who they are, that's the difference. Like, as long as you don't let it define who you are, you can actually manage it and be able to see the difference, being like, this person isn't like this person. But it's safe to share with that person, be like, hey, so I just, like this and this just kind of bothers me, because it could just be a pet peeve, or it could just be a thing from their past that they don't like. And like, I don't really care for it when somebody does this because it makes me think of this. But them showing like over time, like, oh, it's not like that. It's fine. Glenn Lawrence says, so why do women say they are high quality? Do women confuse likes on social media with value? Absolutely. I mean, I don't have any stats on this. Like, I didn't do any statistics. I didn't search it and look for the scholarly stats like Rolla does for everything. That man is like, I don't know how he knows how to search for all of this stuff. That man has, I think, has a secret book that's like the Bible of stats, because he just has statistics on everything and he just lists everything. But I mean, the sad thing is that's actually really true. I mean, I'm not on social media very often. Like, I absolutely do not like social media. I don't. I think it's a horrible addiction habit that people get consumed by. And I don't want to live my life in my phone or on my computer or in my earbuds all the time. Like, I don't do it. But there's a lot of these women that I think anybody really does, that they chase this high that you get with, oh, I got all of these likes. All of these guys are liking me. They like my content. They're like, oh, you're doing great. You look so good. So they're getting all of this like hype from these dudes, giving them they're basically feeding into their, I can't even think of the word right now. And they're feeding into their ego is basically what they're doing. And then it's kind of making their heads like this big when really they need to be humbled. But if men are continuously feeding into these types of women, they're not going to consider themselves low quality, because everybody else on social media is saying that they are awesome. But the only reason why they're saying they're awesome is because you're probably half naked on Instagram. That doesn't mean that you're high quality. That just means you have some qualities about you, probably this or that you're showing that they actually really like. Marriage Causes Divorce says, I don't think women say they are high quality. This high quality thing is a red pill manosphere thing. No, that's the thing though. Women have not said on any of these shows that I have physically been there and witnessed. They have not said that they consider themselves high quality, except one. There was one woman that actually said, well, I don't think that I'm high value because men are high value. So she had it right. But women don't say that. They don't say that they're high quality. I mean, I have said that I consider myself a high quality woman because I have good quality traits about me. But no, that is a red pill space thing where they're them explaining that there is no such thing as a high valued woman. There is a high quality woman. But that was the whole point of this, is that women are saying that they're high value when there is no such thing as high value unless you are married and your man is high valued. Marriage Causes Divorce also says, in biology, we talk about the value exchange, not quality. Men and women both have to bring value to the relationship. Example, provision versus pregnancy. Well, you always use birth. I noticed that. You always seem to use birth. Okay, let me ask you a question, Marriage Causes Divorce. If a woman cannot have a child, do you consider her to bring no value to the table? Because a woman can bring a lot more to the table other than just pregnancy. Or is that just the easiest example you could use?
It's biological.
Well, I know you're saying in biology, true, but there are other things that a woman can do, because what if a woman can't do that? What if a woman has a medical condition and she can't have children?
Back in the day, she would be no value.
The online world is better than the real world. Women get their IG likes, men get their porn up. True, but I'm going to push back a little bit. I mean, I know some friends of mine that are males back home, and they're obsessed with their Instagram. They are. They're totally obsessed with it. They post their pictures of their workouts and everything else that they're doing and the stuff with their kid and whatever the case is. And they are consumed by all of the likes and comments. Oh, your kid is so cute. Or, man, you're benching so much. Like, whatever the case is, like, they also love the ego boost that they get from their social media, from the stuff that they post. But yes, men get satisfaction from their Pornhub if they're not engaging in any sex. Glenn Lawrence says, is there a difference between fuckworthy and marriageable? Yes. I mean, if I was a dude, which, not gonna lie, on occasions I thought it would be really fun to be a dude for a day. But if I was a guy, there's absolutely a difference between somebody being fuckable and somebody being marriageable. So somebody that you considered, bang worthy, you can have very low standards for that. They don't have to be super high. She can be cute. You could be like, yeah, she's hot. Maybe she a hoe. I don't know. Maybe she's been around the block more than once. Maybe she has an OnlyFans. Maybe she shows her ass on Instagram and you saw her like at the bar or something, or walking downtown Vegas. And you're like, hey, I know you. I've seen you. Let me buy you a drink. And the next thing you know, you guys are having sex. That's fine. I will enjoy you for the evening. Absolutely 100%. I have no problem as long as you protect yourself, because you don't know what they have. I would totally enjoy them for the night because I'm curious. Like, hey, you look hot. Are you good in bed? Like, that would be my mentality. Like, that would be mine. I'd be like, oh, you be looking good naked. Do you look good? Are you like just as good in bed as you do look naked? And then I would have sex with them. But then I would never bring home my mom. I would never, ever marry them. I don't want that kind of baggage. I don't want to marry that kind of baggage. Individuals who choose to live that kind of lifestyle, there is a lot more of mental and emotional baggage that goes with it, and it's not worth the investment. Pregnancy is not the only value. I agree. Pregnancy is just an example. Good example. Just making sure. For example, maybe the woman helps out in other ways. Absolutely. F-worthy, short-term, marriageable, long-term. Good, exactly. For most guys, all she needs is a pulse. Well, true. I mean, if they're literally only doing it just to bang it out, yeah, if they have absolutely no standards, because if I saw a beached whale come up to me and she tried to take me back to a hotel room, I would definitely shut that down. I don't feel like dying in my sleep. Problem with marriage is it creates stability and security. Stability and security creates boredom and complacency. Boredom and complacency creates divorce. You know what? That can definitely be true. I have actually known. I actually experienced that with myself. I am divorced. I've been divorced before. So in my previous marriage, it was very much like that, but reversed. You know, my husband was a certain way before we got married. And then he actually admitted, because when I would bring things up to him and be like, hey, you're not leading properly. These things are not happening anymore. Like, what's going on? And I'm being consistent with me and how I treat you and how I respect you and take care of you. So what's going on? Like, where's the problem? Like, what happened? You know, I'm like asking, like, is it me? Did I do something? Because I'm doing all of these boxes. I'm checking off all of these boxes that I've always done. Is there something else that I don't know about? And he was completely honest, and I appreciate him being honest. And he was like, no, he goes, in honesty, he's like, I did those things, you know, because I wanted to secure you. But then after we got married, I just figured, well, like, why? I don't have to compete with anybody anymore. And I was like, whoa, if I had nuts, I'd probably felt like I just got kicked in them and wanted to throw up. Like, I appreciated his honesty, but it made me sick to my stomach to hear that he's like, I know that I can have sex with you whenever I want. I know that you're going to take care of me and that you're just this type of woman. It's how you were raised. Like, you know, your parents raised you very old fashioned. And he's like, and I got lazy. I'm lazy now. I'm like, And that happens. But a lot of times that seems to happen a lot more with the women, where the women get bored because they're getting to like that age in their life with like, I really need stability. I need this, I need that, I need this, because I don't want to be a spinster with 13 cats. And so then they latch on to somebody and now they got that security. They just think that they could do whatever the hell they want and stop doing all these things that their duties are to do, thinking that it's not going to make any difference. And I'm like, well, that marriage does not mean that once you guys tie the knot means that you guys are supposed to stop doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. You guys need to be consistent and continue to, there's always a way that you can better yourself. I know that there's things that I want to better with myself. I know that I could be fitter. I mean, I'm fit, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm in shape, but not like when I'm almost close to stage because I compete fit. And like, I want to be like that, like all the time. And I think that that's super sexy in my opinion. You know what my husband's like? I think you look absolutely beautiful the way you are. Like, but for me, I'm like, I know that I can be better. Like all these other things. So yes, it's true. And eventually it does end up in divorce because people just get bored with each other. It's because they stop trying. They stop trying to impress each other too. I don't see the point in stop trying to impress the person that you're with. 100% facts. Most guys are very desperate and will just settle for a pulse, but these guys will regret that long term. 100. Let's see. Women can solve all marriage problems just by sucking their husband's dick daily. Unless you have really good fucking dental. Sure. I don't even think it just has to be sucking dick. I think as long as you're you never deny him any access to sex, sure, why not? Like, absolutely. But I don't think it actually solves all marriage problems because you could still have sex, but then there's always that elephant in the room that nobody is addressing or taking care of. And then sucking dick, you could tell when a woman is really actually enjoying doing that to her man. You could tell. And you could tell when she's doing it just because she's like, well, it's my duty. Like, when a woman's doing it for a duty, it is like the worst experience ever for a guy. I can only imagine. So there's more to it than just sucking dick daily. Geo Blacklister said stage ready fitness is too much. True. But again, to each their own. Like, I would love to be where I'm like a month out, maybe 2 weeks out. I like stage. But when I say stage ready, I'd like to be within like 5 pounds of stage ready. Geo Blacklister says, I don't think most guys like it as much as you think. Really? Really? I find that shocking. And you know what? I mean, I'm always shocked when I hear that because my old father, RP Thor, and I had a conversation when we were, he was a guest for my husband and I when we went to a red carpet event last October for a movie that we were both in. And we were talking about women and their physique, and I was talking about mine. He was showing me his wife and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know, I was like, I'm like 10 pounds from stage. And I was like, I don't like it. You know, I want to be like this. And he goes, actually, men don't really want that. And he goes, men like women with some curves and a little bit of squishy. He's like, she's got to have the squishy in the right places. Like, you don't want to be grabbing her ass and it's like harder than yours and it's solid as a rock. You know, she's got to have a little bit of squish. You don't want to feel like you're cuddling with a boulder. And I was like, okay, it's just because I see these dudes on social media always gawking at women like that, hearting everything, liking all of their shit. And I'm like, okay, well, the men must really like it if they're giving that much attention to it. And I don't see them giving it as much or commenting as much to the girl next door average type. Dark Knight Dove says, start a argument with her and put yourself around other attractive women in social settings. Ouch. You don't have to cheat, but it helps when women like you. I can see that. Yeah. I definitely know that. I mean, I don't act out of pocket because that's not in my nature. But oh, wait a minute, I'm confused. Why would you want to start an argument? Why do you want to create that kind of smoke? Like, that might cause issues later on down the road, being like, you know what, I'm going to start an argument. We're going to go somewhere and around these other attractive women's or club or a pool party or something, and women in social settings, and just, I don't know. I don't really know about that. I don't know if I'd want to put myself in that kind of situation. I don't need that drama. Mental and emotional stability, physical intimacy, crazy wife is a nightmare. Word. I used to have an ex-friend, and I say ex because she was crazy. And she was a crazy wife. I felt so bad for her husband. I kept trying to educate her what was not right about her method. That she was too dominant, and she tried to boss him around a lot, tried to emasculate him, and I was like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. But she was kind of a cray-cray. Jill Blacklister says, I think enthusiastic sex is the gateway for a great relationship conversation. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, if you're enthusiastic in that person, then it actually shows them that you have some kind of genuine sexual desire for them. Because you could tell to a degree. Some women are really good at faking it. It's almost scary how misleading women can be and like how good they are at faking shit. Like, it really is scary. My husband and I was dropping off an associate the other day at her hotel, and she was telling us about this crazy situation that she was in because she's a model, and talking about how all these girls are hustling dudes at the casino. Like, if it's a normal thing, like doing it without any reservation, any flaws, like I couldn't do that. I would get caught so quick because I cannot do dirty to people. Let's see. Well, Lauren says, what is the biggest problem with modern women? Where do I start? I don't even think I want to go there. There are so many things wrong with modern women. I mean, yes, it's good that women support women because even in biblical times, women help support women. You know, like when their husbands were gone and they were doing long travels or stuff like that, or back in the way days and Greek times, the women would all help each other because their husbands were out to war. So they all helped each other with the kids. So yes, you're supposed to, you know, have that kind of community where you help each other, but not to the point where it's toxic, where you're like, we don't need no man. No man ain't shit. We are high-valued women. We can do everything men can. And you just can't. You just can't. Sorry. You can't. I don't even want to do everything a man can do. I don't. I mean, yes. Would I like to be strong? Yes. But I'm a female and I don't want to look like that. So, but do I should I get look my size and be like super powerful? Duh. Like, do I wish that I could make millions and millions of dollars and not have to sell my booty hole? Yeah, but to be honest, do I really want to? No. There are so many sacrifices when it comes that women I don't think that they realize that men have to sacrifice when they do that kind of stuff. But yet the modern women think that they can do it all. Why do you think that most of these modern women are also overweight? Their skin looks like shit. That most of them are plastic anyways. And you know why? It's because your eating habits are horrible. You don't go to the gym. So it's easier for you to get fillers and Botox and facelifts and peels and cool sculpting and sculpturing and mommy makeovers. And it's easier for them to do that because they want to be a boss-ass bitch and make all the money in the world so they don't have to depend on a man because they don't trust a man to lead them appropriately because they have that mental damage and they haven't processed through that and actually gone and helped to work through it to where you can't give yourself the healthy life that you can give yourself. Like those are also things that men have to sacrifice. Men have to plan out their entire day to fit everything in the day and also give you time and attention. They also have to make time in their busy day and tiresome day, depending on the job. Some of their jobs may be easy. I don't know. But to still give you time, love, and attention so that way they're still letting you know that they still desire you. I don't want that. I really don't. That's a lot of friggin' work. Geo Blacklister says if you think about it, the most popular models that men stem over are nowhere near bodybuilding fitness levels. Yes, but if I was a guy, I actually would much rather prefer a fitness woman, not like physique. Not physique. I do bikini. So I would I personally, even as a woman, I don't like women. I can appreciate a beautiful woman. I can, man, she's hot. But, I don't do anything with women. I'm not into that. That's not my thing. But if I was a guy, I actually would find fitness women more attractive than models because models are just kind of thin and lean. They're not necessarily fit. There's a difference. If you take two different models and you take a bikini model, let's say 1 month or 2 months out from stage, and just a regular model that you see in a magazine that does clothes and stuff, there's nothing there. She's like a sheet of paper. There's not really much to the physique, at least from what I've seen. I don't know. Amber Heard could give Johnny amazing intimacy, but at the end of the day, she will always be crazy Amber. Yeah, crazy Amber Turd. I feel so bad for that man. I need therapy. Geo Blacklister says they are fit, but not bodybuilder fit. I mean, sure, to each their own preference. Like I said, if I was a dude and me as a woman, I could be just because of the industry that I'm in. But I find women like that very attractive because if if you also think about it, if you've seen a lot of the people that used to be models back then and that are now, like, models don't eventually can kind of tendency to let themselves go. Unless the person has a really bad injury and they're in like fitness competitions, they normally are so addicted to it that they're actually in really good shape for like the majority of their life. Like, it becomes a lifestyle. It's not a job. There's a difference. Like, modeling is a job. So you have to be a certain way like this for your job. And when people do fitness competitions, if you have your pro card, yes, it's a job, but it's also a passion. Like, it's something that, you know, they really desire to do because they want to be healthy like that. It's called passive dread. I'm confused. I think there were so many conversations that I don't even know where we're at. I think starting an argument might be a good test before marriage. Don't start random arguments with your actual wife, especially if there's no prenup. Ooh. Well, in all honesty, I think nowadays, because people don't really understand what marriage really is, and it's really, really sad to me, because marriage is such a beautiful thing when it's actually done the way that it's supposed to be done. I think everybody should have a prenup. They should talk about, like, in the prenup, it should explain, like, what are their terms for divorce. If they were to get a divorce, like, how does that look? You know, I think that nobody should get married without a prenup. Absolutely no. Dark Knight Dove says it means you're not boring. It's stimulus interest. Make a small argument, then kiss her on the forehead the next day. Okay. I think that's funny. I almost feel like that's kind of, in a way, like mental mind fucking somebody, because you're gonna start an argument and they're gonna be like, wait a minute, where did this even come from? What happened? And then the next thing you know, they're totally confused. And then the next day you're like, hey boo thing, and they're like, what? Like, and then there's gonna probably want to be another conversation, like, shh, we don't need to have a conversation. Everything's fine. I don't know. I would be confused. Marriage causes divorce says if she needs the stimulus of an argument to keep her excited and happy, she is a bad long-term bet. Go for someone mentally, emotionally stable. Agree. There are more than enough ways in a relationship and in a marriage to keep things stimulated and interesting, especially if you guys actually have things that you guys like to do in common. You guys always can do those things and then like try to step it up on the next level or something like that. Let's see. Starting fake arguments will be exhausting in a 50-year marriage. Absolutely. You're like, man, I got to do this shit once a month. No thanks. Faking how many Kegels do you have to do to fake a vaginal grip during an orgasm? Oh, I wasn't talking about orgasms. Once you experience the real deal, it's hard to be fooled. No, I wasn't talking about orgasms. I wasn't talking about that. I'm just saying that women can fake liking you. That women can actually like be into it. Yeah, an orgasm is a real thing. And they may enjoy the orgasm part of it. I actually knew this person. I knew this lady, I won't say her name, but she had unfortunately, she was like an easy orgasm person. She says, I hate going to the gynecologist because she is apparently like, I don't know, it's just the way that her G-spot or something is in there that she comes really quick. And it's not even stimulating to her. It's the way that it hits her, the way that it actually hangs down or whatever the case is, that the minute that they would actually go in there with the thing to go give her a ultrasound or something, she'd have an orgasm on the table. So people still might be able to orgasm without that. How can women maintain a sexual interest in their husbands? That's a good question. Well, one way that women are not going to be able to maintain sexual interest for their husbands is if they look at everything that's wrong with them. Because, surprise, surprise, ladies, you're not fucking perfect either. So nobody's fucking perfect. I don't know. I'm different. I mean, I think of all the things that, you know, my husband does for us and our family, and I see him putting the work in and the stuff that he does. Like, I love watching him work. Like, when we're on set together somewhere and he's actually doing his thing, I'm just like, look at him go. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. It just really depends. I mean, try something new and fun. Like, don't do the same old thing, you know? Like, I think women also should sometimes like find excitement in their sex life with their husband as well. Try something different, something outside the box. You know, I even made a short clip on YouTube where I talked about and gave examples of the 3 ways that a woman can display to her husband that she wants to get freaky deaky. You know, and it goes from, you know, like kind of like where it's not as out there, so it's like just me being like, oh hey, and like you guys should watch it, but it gives 3 examples from like minimal to extreme on how to do that. And women can try stuff like that. Just try something fun. I mean, think of, I mean, I just, if you seriously, if women have respect. Oh yeah, sure, you can go ahead and play that. He's actually going to play the video right now. Give you guys the example of what I'm talking about.
Question for you. Does your man want you to try to initiate sex a little bit more? But maybe you're just a little too scared. Maybe you're afraid you're going to look silly or stupid. Maybe even you're afraid of rejection. Believe me, I have been there, all 3 categories, but give you 3 simple scenarios that might be able to help you just try it to see. Okay? I mean, we could try subtle.
I'm really hungry. You know what I'm in the mood for? I have a hankering for something very specific.
Okay, well, what do you want?
You know those like foot long corn dogs? You know, there's just
Oh,
mm.
well, there's hot dog on the stick, so we could go there. Get in the car. Come on.
Or we could try the not so subtle, but not too overt, kind of like the in between. Baby,
Hey, yeah, it's just me, dear.
you're home.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Just about to get into the shower.
Okay, well, enjoy that. I'm gonna be in the office, slaving away before I gotta go run some errands for the boss.
Already? You just got home.
Yeah, but you know, no rest for the weary.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that sucks.
Well, I mean, I mean, I mean, I, I kind of smell dirty. I think I need to take a shower. You know, I mean, is there room for 2?
Yes, I'm gonna go take
Well,
a shower.
I'll bring my loofah.
Or we have the I don't care, I'm horny, I want it right now, and it's about to go down. Baby, have you seen my
God
keys?
damn! What? What the fuck?
Have you seen my keys? I've been looking for them everywhere.
Oh, I got what you're looking for. God damn! I'm stick my key right in that ignition and rev that engine up.
Oh, okay. Well, then come on then.
Girl, you want to play cat and mouse? Okay.
That could possibly help you to be able to initiate sex a little bit more and get super comfortable with it. But you know what? If it doesn't work, come on back. We'll figure something else out. But you know, let's say for instance you do try it and maybe your man just isn't really able to salute. Well, in that situation, I would probably recommend maybe having him go to the doctors. There might be something off with his level, or maybe he's just really that dense. Okay. Um, or there's the worst case scenario where maybe it's just because you're as white as a fence and maybe that's just not doing it for him anymore and got to get yourself back in the gym. But either way, you just let me know and you come on back and we'll figure it out. Until next time.
So there you go. So there you go. That's what I was talking about. Let's see. Let's get back to the last couple of questions. One says, Dark Knight says, if you want emotionally stable women, then date a man. Too many guys on here hate women for being women. You can always download Grindr. Ugh. Marriage Causes Divorce actually put in a request, and I'm actually going to write it down because you asked for it. Yes, I shall. It says, can you do a stream on can a woman be mentally and emotionally stable? I think they can. Some marriages do last 50 years. Not everyone divorces. No, I totally agree. I mean, my parents are in 3 days are actually about to have their 39th anniversary. So they've been together for almost 40 years. Same people. Yeah, absolutely. Can women be mentally and emotionally stable? All right. Wrote it down. I will do one. I will do some research, and then I will do a stream on that. One thing you got right is it is mental first. Applying to mental first. Too many guys pig based on the physical, and then regret it a long term. True. I mean, I can see that being true, even though you're not talking to me. But I could see that being true. I think, since most of you guys are men, let me ask you a quick question before I log off for the night. Do you think that men actually settle more for a woman that they probably wouldn't settle for? Or do you think women would? Because I personally have thought that, I believe that there are plenty of women out there that, they meet a guy and she does fall in love with him, but, he's not everything, that she always hoped for. Maybe it's like only the physical part of it. She's like, he's a great guy. He's all these other things, but he's like, his looks aren't exactly like, my ideal, but I still find him sexually appealing to the point where we could have sex. But then eventually it's just kind of like, women sometimes hope that he will actually take the time, like, maybe like he sees me doing these things and I'll kind of rub off on him and we can go to the gym together and he can get more in better shape and da-da-da-da-da. And then never does. And you're like, you actually just don't ever take care of yourself if that's not attractive? Or do you think that men will settle for women that aren't necessarily who they would really desire to be with, and they just make it work? I don't know. I'm actually really curious about that, because guys always say like dudes will screw anything with a pulse. Yes, true. But men are typically, going to be a little bit more selective when it comes to marrying the person. And I believe that women, because again, as Rolo says, that women look at men as success objects. So if he has a lot that he could provide her, then I think she's willing to sacrifice on some things that she's like, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but he could provide all of these things. Marriage Causes Divorce says women's standards are extremely high, so they probably have to settle more initially, but long term they don't settle and just divorce. You know what? I can see that being true. That's so sad. That is so sad. Well, this has been absolutely awesome. I think everybody who has been in my chat and everybody that's actually watching, this was my first time ever, I think, doing it live on my channel. So yay. And I appreciate everybody's engagement. Like, I like doing this where I like being able to read your guys' stuff. And then it's like I'm talking to you guys when I'm actually like if you guys are actually here with me and we're talking. I think that's awesome. I want to thank you all, and I hope you guys actually liked the show. Thank you, Marriage Causes Divorce, for giving me a suggestion on a topic. If any of you have any other topic suggestions that you would like me to talk about, you can go ahead and leave a comment or something and I'll go through them. And then I can go ahead and start making a list of the stuff that you guys would like to hear about. I mean, my goal on my channel is actually to help women to be great again, because there are so many men in the man space, and it's true in the red pill space that are saying that all of these men are talking about how these men can level up and be better men. Not for women, because they shouldn't be doing it for women, but for themselves. But there's nobody out here talking to the women trying to correct women. And that's always kind of been my goal even from the beginning, is try to encourage women to be better and to get back to being wholesome women and not wholesome women. I mean, everybody loves a hoe. All the dudes would love to have sex with a hoe, but again, he doesn't want to marry a hoe. So, and the pendulum is swinging more towards hoe, and we need to have a balance, and there's no balance in this life right now. So let's see. The last one says, not only will men smash anything, they damn near will marry anything. Men are the real romantics. You know, I hear so many men say that, and it's probably true. I just know in a lot of my previous relationships, I was actually the most romantic out of the two of us. I was always the one doing the QC things and doing all the sacrifices and all this other crap and trying to spend time with them and trying to show them all this other stuff. And they just absorbed it all. They just absorbed it all. Like, so much of my life seems like I've had the experiences of what a man goes through, and I'm a woman. And I was like, man, this is what it's like when dudes go through this. This sucks. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. But anyways, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please hit the like button. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Have a good night.